Oh my gosh, we're live. I'm glad I didn't say anything out of the way because I was going to say something. Hey, Beth,
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, me too. I'm excited to be back here to talk more about democracy and elections today.
Woohoo! So we are here again, 100 Shades of Abilities. Yes, as part of our community partnership and education part that we do. We have Beth Bowen back with Glasswing Public Affairs. And I think she told you last week a little bit about what she does. But if you are tuning in for the first time, Beth, can you please tell the people what it is that you do?
We are a full service strategic communications and digital agency. I work with several different clients. We work with candidates who are running for office. We work with organizations that need campaigns to get millages passed. We work with other organizations, nonprofits, to move legislation in the legislature. So lots of different public affairs, public relations type work.
Whew, that was a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
So last week, we told you that we were 2 weeks out from the primary, which is next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, friends and neighbors, next Tuesday. Can you believe it? It is August already. Hey,
Yep.
we have a viewer in from Hey Tracy. Tracy is out east. I want to say help me out now. Are you in New Jersey? You're in Maryland? I want to help us out, help us out. But good afternoon to you, Tracy.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Um Last week we talked about what is the difference between a primary election and Maryland. What? Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in from Maryland. Um, we talked about the difference between a primary and the general election, and that normally this is a lower voter turnout because it's midterm,
Mhm.
meaning that it's right in the middle of a presidency, and many states are going to reelect their governors, new state senators, congressional senators, and they're going to do a lot of people are going to school board,
Mhm.
college boards. Let's see who else. Oh, wow, my race.
Mhm.
State representatives.
Yep. Proposals too. Lots of proposals for school funding, for road funding, for mental health funding, for amending state constitutions. Lots of things going on the ballot. Also, judges. Not all judges are elected. Some are elected, some are appointed, but you might see some judgeships on your ballot this year too.
And so our conversation today is, why do I need to vote? Tell me, why do I need to vote, Beth? My
Okay.
vote doesn't count. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think that's what we hear all the time, that, you know what? My vote doesn't count. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, and first of all, yeah, everyone's vote counts. If you're registered and you're a citizen and you vote, it is counted and it makes a difference. It means something. We have very secure elections in this country. We have a whole army of clerks and staff who follow very specific rules and make sure that your vote is counted. It's collected and counted. Whether you vote absentee or whether you vote on election day, before election day, in person. There are lots of different ways to vote, but your vote is counted. Now, the bigger question is, why does my vote count? And the answer to that is because we live in a representative democracy. We can't bring everyone in from wherever you live. Think about where you live. Can you bring everyone together to make every decision that needs to be made to run your city, your township, your county, your state? It's just too many people. So we have to elect representatives to go and speak on our behalf. And so it's very important during the campaigns that when candidates are campaigning, that it's like a job interview. You are interviewing them to say, who are you? And what do you believe? And what are your values? because I want to know what kind of person is going to be up there speaking on my behalf. So it's not necessarily what are you going to do when you get there, but sometimes you can ask people that too. What are your priorities? What are the things that you're interested in working on, the problems that you want to solve? But it's as much about who you are as a person, as a candidate. So I want to know, is candidate X the kind of person that I trust to speak on my behalf? And so you have to go out there and vote. And we talked last week about difference between primary and general. So the primary is where you get to choose from among multiple candidates who identify with one political party. And so you could say that they share values. So of the values that they share, this is the candidate that I like for this political party. If you choose, if you choose one party. And then in the general, you go in and you say, I'm going to vote for the candidate for the party that shares my values. And it's only one person now, one per party. So I made my selection earlier. Someone got the most votes. Does that person still share my values? Or do I want to reevaluate? Just because you voted for someone in the primary, you don't have to vote for that person again in the general. No one knows what your vote is. It's a secret ballot vote. And it's counted, but it's counted as a number. It's one vote. It's not you, your person, your name voted for this person. So that is secret ballot. But it's about finding those people that we trust, the people that we know are going to work on our behalf. So your vote does count because you need to tell people who you want out there speaking on your behalf.
Wow. Thank you, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
So you said something that really resonated, and if you could expound upon it a little bit, and I think we may have talked about it when we were talking about the difference of the primary and general on last week, but you said if I go out on our election here in Michigan for the primary is Tuesday, August 2nd, I get my ballot. I see on my ballot there is one Democrat running for my district. I see 3 Republicans. And I choose, because I'm Republican, I choose a Republican. And as I watch, so my Republican wins against, and that's going to be the person who's going to represent us for the November election. And between August 2nd and November 8th, I noticed that the Democrat shares more of my values. So when November 8th comes, can I change my mind and say, I don't want that Republican I voted for in the primary and choose the Democrat in November?
Absolutely. Every election is a clean slate that you go in and you get a clean ballot, and whoever is on there, you can make your choice. Now, we talked last time about how we can't cross parties during the primary. You have to vote all for one party, all Republican or all Democrat or all Libertarian, the major parties. But in the general, you can vote for, nonpartisan, which means they don't identify with a political party. You vote for proposals, that sort of thing. So it's all reset. And yes, you can change your mind. Also, coincidentally, if you vote ahead of time by absentee ballot and you change your mind between the time you vote with your absentee ballot and before the election, it's up until 8 p.m. on election day, you can change your vote in that election as well. You can go to your clerk's office. You can ask them to spoil your ballot. They will pull it out and they will mark it as spoiled. They will not count it. And then they will issue you either a new ballot there at the clerk's office, and you can fill it out and give it to them on election day, or you can go to your polling place and get a new ballot. So if, and sometimes this happens too, the person you voted for, they drop out of the race, but the ballots have already been printed. Their name's going to be on the ballot, but there's no way they're going to win because they've pulled out, they've pulled the plug on it, that sort of thing. You already voted for them. You can go and change your vote up until 8 p.m. on election day.
Okay, and these rules apply for every state. So this is not just, this is how this happens in Michigan.
Well, this is how it happens in Michigan. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on every state because it is the state that makes their rules. And so it's possible that they don't let you change it. But in Michigan, yes, you can spoil your ballot and recast your vote in any election up until 8 p.m. on election day.
Okay, so now I'm about to throw a
Mhm.
monkey wrench in this plan. Now, all of us know that there has been all of this talk about tampering and why another party lost the race to another party. Is this part of that reason why? Because they feel that maybe somebody's vote was spoiled, and if I go in and I take your vote back out, is that considered tampering?
Absolutely not. Because someone could go to a polling place and get their ballot, never applied for an absentee. They go into their polling place, they get their ballot, and they sit down and they start to fill it out and they make a stray mark that they can't get rid of, or they change their mind halfway through.
Mhm.
Or, oh, two candidates have the same first name and they thought they chose the wrong one. You can spoil that ballot right there at the polling place. Take it up to the chair of the polling place and say, I made a mistake. I want to spoil my ballot. I want a new ballot. So what they do is they spoil it. That invalidates it. It will not be counted. It's put in a special envelope for spoiled ballots. It is not put into the tabulator machine
Okay.
where counted votes go. And I know all this because I have worked elections in my township. I volunteer. You are paid by your township or your city to work the elections, but it is volunteer. And you learn so much about how safe our elections are by working the polls and seeing all the safeguards that are in place and all of the steps that you go through to identify the voter, to make sure they get the right ballot, to make sure that their ballot is safe and secure and counted, and at the end of the night everything is returned to the clerk's office and it's all counted. Our elections in Michigan, these are the ones that I have experienced, are incredibly safe and have a lot of process baked in to make sure that things are done properly.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much. So we just want to come to you over the next few weeks as we prepare for an election. And many of you know, since we are in 50 states and in 10 countries, that Michigan has been in the news for the last 2 years saying that, you know, we are definitely a swing state. Many Republicans need Michigan to be on their side. And right now, we're just talking nonpartisan right now. And, or actually, well, yeah, anyway. But we want to make sure over the next few weeks that you are fully educated on your rights to vote, what voting means, what each office is that you're voting for, and what role they play in your life. We know that we have probably, if you never thought about what voting does or want to be in politics, you found out a few weeks ago when the Supreme Court said that they were going to overturn Roe versus Wade. I think there are many people who, oh, I don't get into politics. I don't believe in all of that. Oh, I don't do all of that stuff. And yeah, I vote for my president and then I don't come back, for 4 years. And I don't think about an election except for, every 4 years. And we're saying to you, you need to pay attention. It's time to wake up and pay attention. And I just want, what everybody has heard, that ignorance is bliss. There is nothing blissful about being ignorant, because when you reap the consequences of your ignorance, whoo, yeah.
And one thing you're going to hear me say a lot over the next couple of weeks is the more local the election, the more impact it has on your life. So if you don't know who your city council is, or your mayor, or your township council, or a
Your
supervisor of your
commissioner.
township, then they are doing things that are affecting your life potentially, and you don't even know who they are. And everything is Open Meetings Act, so you can go to the meetings. A lot of meetings are online now that you can attend. You can contact any one of these people and ask them questions, and they are obligated as your representative to speak to you, to give you the answers that you need, even if it's just to say, what do you do as my treasurer, as my clerk, as my trustee, as a city council person? So that is your right as a citizen, is to talk to your elected officials and know who they are.
It is. So we want to say thank you so much for tuning in with us today.
Mm-hmm.
On next week, this same time, 4 p.m. from 4 to 4:15, we're going to talk about what are the offices that I'm voting for, whether you're in a township, a city, or a county, or it is your state rep or your congressional rep. So we're going to talk about those offices on next week. Tune in, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.